And we are live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. My name is Tony Vacinda. I'm Chief Alchemist at Plus One EXP, which is a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy, and the Bardic College of Content Creation. Our hope and desire is to help amazing designers find great players who love their games and help amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. We do that in a lot of different ways, but my favorite one is sitting down and playing the game. I'm also getting to play with people today who I really love playing with overall. Some of my favorite players to have on stream. So you're going to get to meet them all. I also, at one point, mentally looked over to the screen to see if any of you were mouthing along with my intro, which none of you have ever done. But I was like, if there's a group that would do it, this would be it. I specifically looked at Aaron
I've definitely done
King.
it before.
So...
I was distracted today because I went to go hit the pop-out chat, and I have moderator powers now.
I gave you moderator powers for a reason, maybe to post a link or something, or go share something.
That
sounds like a horrible choice that I made. Maybe it was just in prep for next month, which I should go grab the image of that because we can talk about it a little bit later. Also, too. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Glad you're with us. Today, we're going to be playing Himbos of Myth and Metal, which is an RPG that's funding right now over on itch. For Zine Month, there's a link down below. Keegan's beautiful face. It'll take you right to that, ttrpg.link /Himbos game. We'll take you right there. You can also go to himbosrpg.com because Max know what up. With that said, let's meet the creator of the game, have them tell us a little bit more about it, and that's Max Lander. Max, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online, but tell us about Himbos of Myth and Metal.
Yeah, hello, I am Max Lander. You can find me online at Maxwell Lander, everywhere that is relevant, all the places, I think. Himbos of Myth and Metal is my weird little fantasy game. I guess this is what some people call their fantasy heartbreaker. I'm just like, I want to make a fantasy game, so I'm going to make a fantasy game, but it's focused around big bodies and big hearts and very small brains. So it's just a bunch of big hot dudes, gender neutral dudes doing dumb stuff.
Awesome. Lots of times fantasy heartbreakers never get made, though, and this game did. And so it's been funded. It's been funding very, very well. People should 100% still go support it. Make more good things happen, including other Himbos games. We'll probably talk a little bit about that at the end also, too. But cool. I'm excited to run the game. I am running today. I usually don't. But one of my conditions on running, this is part 2 of a 2-part stream. The first part of some of these adventures tale you can go check out over on TPK Roleplay, who hosted part 1. We're hosting part 2. They are canonically 100% connected. If you didn't watch part 1, maybe Keegan and Max can catch you up a little bit, but basically there are animals. And so we'll address all that as we come up, and there'll be some continuity pieces that flow through. But there's no GM facing rules. All the rules are player facing. So I just have to tell a good story, run it within the Himbos conceit, and I get to do a good job that way. I am 100% going to lean on the team, though, to add some details and help paint out the world also, too, as we go. Let's meet our other players, though. Let's go first, since I've already mentioned them. Keegan.
Hey, that's me. I'm Keegan. You can see me online at KeeganEXE, and I'm playing Guy McMahon today. That's it. That's my intro.
Awesome. Well, that's not. So here's what I do need to know. Tell us about Guy's pet.
Oh, yeah. I have a pet panther named Maxitar.
Cool. So Maxitar is your pet panther. Max, do panthers have stats in this universe?
They don't currently, but now I feel like they have to be canon, so I have to put them in there somewhere.
We've got to get the pets expansion worked out quickly.
I got to get that bestiary in there.
We'll figure it out as we go today. Awesome. I'm super excited to see Guy and what Guy does. And I should write down names, otherwise I will forget them. We've got Trunk, and Guy. And last but not least, making their debut in the Himbos universe on stream, we've got Aaron King. Aaron, tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online, and tell us a little bit about the Himbo you're playing today.
Hi, I'm Aaron at Aaron MF King on Twitter. I am editing Himbos, and I co-host with Max a podcast called Read the Fucking Manual, where we read and talk about old RPGs. First episode is out. It's about Cyberpunk 2020. Tomorrow we release episode 2 about the AD&D Book of Humanoids.
Awesome.
We got a special co-host on there, special little bit that we do, top 3 humanoids. And I'm playing Paprika Parsons, ex-lumberjack, wielder of the Ruby of Divination. I don't know what it does, but I bought it.
Awesome. It is, and like, so anybody who's watching, the game is OSR inspired, which oftentimes means one of my favorite things to do in an OSR game is literally just to write weird stuff down on my sheet. We were talking about this right before we went live, and then we figure out what that does while we're playing. So do I sometimes have a flower that only blooms at night and some dirt from my homeland in my pockets when I play OSR games? Yes. Does that make any sense to take up one of my limited spots? Usually not. Have I absolutely demolished a game master with those things? 100%. And so I can't wait to find out what the Ruby of Divination does also too. And so with that said, Max, why don't you tell us a little bit about Trunks also too, since everybody else introduced their characters already.
Oh yeah, Trunk is a minotaur, not a Maxitor. Just which only is going to cause some confusion at some point, I'm sure. With really big hooves, who's quite large, and most importantly, has a pet friend, familiar chicken bud called Cookie. Who I think Trunk's only central character motivation is protecting Cookie at all costs. So you may get abandoned for Cookie is what I'm going to say.
Awesome. I'm excited. Just FYI, we use lines, veils in the X card out there for anybody watching. Lines are things that may happen in the course of in the world of our game, but don't happen in the course of our play. Veils are things that may happen in play, but we handle them in a certain context as they come up. X cards, the ability for anybody to say or hit X at any point in time, pause the game, identify whatever the issue is. We'll remove that issue from play. No explanation is required. We may add another line or veil at that point in time, but then we'll move forward in a different direction. We always have a strong line against sexual violence on the channel. Does anybody else have any lines or veils that they want to add?
Nothing offhand.
Cool. We also have an open door policy, so everybody playing on stream is a human being, so you might see them eat, drink, need to get up, talk to somebody off screen, any of those things. That's all normal stuff that humans do. If you need to eat, drink, get up, move around during the course of our play, you should do it as well. But with that said, I'm going to hand it over to me to take us into the game. Oh, that's weird. I didn't know what to do there for a second.
Take it, Tony. Take us.
So we see your Himbos plus one other shadowy figure deep in the Crypt of Tr'Ops. Deep within the Crypt of Tr'Ops, you've traveled down. You've had numerous adventures and encounters along the way, some of which we're going to get a chance to see in just 1 second. Standing in front of you is a ziggurat-like structure buried deep within the earth, lining the stairs up to the top. Where we see two figures at the top, lining the stairs going up. We see a number of skeletal visages clad in moldy and mustering armor. A stench of rot and decay fill the air as green lightning and electricity course across the top spires of the ziggurat. At the top, we see an altar with a figure clad in dark robes holding a knife over their head, chanting, with another figure tied down to the altar. But before we get there, let's step back and talk about what was happening in the city before you got here, before you went past Mrs. Nim's college, deep into the bush to get out here to the crypt, and how you made your way down. Let's find out a little bit more about that. You were at Crisis Averted after let's say this was trap day. So you guys had worked your traps in the morning, blasted out a good session, got and picked up your smoothies, and had made your way to Crisis Averted to find out what work was available. When you got there, standing there waiting and kind of smirking at you as you walked in. It was Steven. Tell me a little bit about a time you have worked with Steven in the past, and tell me one of the reasons that Steven is your least favorite himbo.
So Steven went to college, and he got a philosophy degree, and he just hasn't talked the same since. So frequently when Steven's talking, I have no idea what the fuck is going on.
Awesome.
I feel like that's and like not in the normal way, where I usually have no idea what's going on in a very intentional way. Using really big words.
Awesome. So you don't like Steven because Steven went and got a philosophy degree, and he makes you feel uncomfortable with the things that he says about the state of existence and other many other things. I got to think about himbo philosophy for a second. Hold on.
Yeah, well, that, and he just uses words with like a lot of syllables in them.
Awesome. Max, why doesn't Trunk like Steven?
I mean, I feel like Trunk's probably not also a fan of the large words, but I think a lot of it has to do with Trunk really likes it when folks are just very straightforward about what makes them happy, and I feel like is very suspicious of people who use any kind of language to justify or explain away their feelings, as opposed to just saying, I'm fucking sad or whatever.
Awesome. I like it. So you feel like Steven is oftentimes uses these complex terms to avoid emotional honesty, and that's sad for you. All right, love it.
Trump hates discourse.
Trump hates discourse.
You know what? I actually like Trunk now.
You did it before. Thank you. Just a whole 3 hours of playing a game before. Trunk only now.
Awesome. Aaron, why doesn't Paprika like Steven?
I saw Steven betray me in the future via my Ruby of Divination.
Shit. All right, cool. We'll play that scene out a little bit later, because I'll go ahead and give it to you. That's where we're headed, anyways. So I'm gonna go ahead and credit you that final knowledge. Have you told anybody about this?
No.
Okay.
I keep my thoughts to myself. They're hard to form and harder to speak, so I'm still figuring out. I'm sure Steven would have something to say about fatalism and
that's like one of many possible worlds, dude, and you that may be what's gonna happen, but you can't put that on me just because you saw it in the Ruby of Divination.
Steven, what are you talking about?
So as you walk in, each of these is representing a scar on Steven. Steven is a much more experienced himbo, is taking has a work order in their hand from Critical. I keep a Crisis Averted. I keep on trying to call it something else. From
Critical Role.
Steven came
from Critical Role to invade our stream.
Steven Critical Role.
And he's like, y'all looking for work today?
I mean, we want to be helpful whenever we can.
I'm looking for a couple of other bows to go out with me. Y'all down?
Yeah.
I guess if someone needs help.
Yeah. And so let's see. Who feels like they've most recently had a romantic encounter?
In real life?
Sure. I was talking character wise. We can play it however we want to, and in the OSR inspired space, character and player knowledge oftentimes bleed with each other. I was talking about characters, but
player carnal knowledge is the same as character carnal knowledge. I mean, not it. That's for sure.
I was like, I don't know. I don't know how much. I don't know how much being stuck in a pandemic with your partner for 2 years counts as a romantic encounter.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's romantic anymore. Is the problem?
Well, let's look at.
Damn.
I was like I said, again, really talking
Shout
about
out to
characters
Joe.
here. Really talking about characters here. Which one of you thinks your character has most recently had a romantic encounter?
It's Trunks for sure.
Okay.
Does cookie count?
Trunk, who is the person you had a romantic encounter with?
You know, I think probably in actuality, Trunk misunderstood something and has like been doing a little bit less like a genuine romantic encounter and more just like a pine a little bit
Okay.
for like somebody who just whoever is the best juice maker at the local juice stand.
Yeah.
There's the inclusion of jalapenos in the protein has just been like, yeah, like we had a spicy moment.
Awesome. So Jerry Juice, of the local Jerry Juice stand, from the Jerry Juice family. Everybody in the family is named Jerry, and it's just a family tradition. You've been pining over Jerry Juice? It looks like Jerry Juice has been captured by the Dark Lord. We got to take this, and he holds up this bright, gleaming sword. We got to take this and apparently stop the world from ending.
Not Jerry.
Yeah, they better
Jerry,
not
the
hurt
inventor of the jalapeno smoothie is what I'm.
Jerry hand milks those jalapenos.
Are jalapenos mammals? No, Max, we can't do that.
Jalapenos are milked. You guys are I know like almonds are mammals because you can get almond milk, and oats are mammals.
Also oats. Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't know if jalapenos are mammals.
I mean, if you get jalapeno milk, they have to be.
I guess that's true. That's really the only what is milk of magnesia?
That's the competing family. The magnesia family.
magnesias. As you guys are having this conversation, you make your way out of the city. Steven informs you that also if you bros could do me an honor, I'd really like to just be called Spider from now on. Like I got this sick tat, and he points at he's got spider tattoos on his elbows. And he's got one going up the back of his head now. He's like, I was just thinking, I just think it sounds really good.
I mean, I always heard you can't force a nickname, but I'll call you Spider anyway.
I'm not trying to force it. I'm trying to gently ask, in consideration, if you would just call me what I would like to be called.
Did
Yeah,
you know
that's fine,
people milk
Spider.
spiders for their venom?
Are spiders mammals?
I have been thinking about starting my own.
Mammal now. It's very good.
I have been thinking about starting my own juice stand. So I, that's good to know. Absolutely with a Y. It's absolutely Spider with a Y.
That's how you always spell spider anyway.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And there's also no E. It's just with an R. It's the most pretentious spelling of spider you can imagine. Chat, go ahead and type in the worst version of spelling spider you can imagine, and we'll pick one of them to make canon. So you guys head out with the sword of truth in Spider's hand, deep into the bush. And you make your way out to the Crypt of Tr'Ops. So we're gonna fast forward to that scene. So I would love everybody's gonna get to narrate one vignette of what happened on your way to get to the ziggurat at the bottom of the Crypt of Tr'Ops. So if you think about it for a second, you're gonna have pretty large narrative control over what happens. But I'll present you. I'll work back and forth with you on anything that you need GM or support guidance for. But tell me about one of the encounters you had that's the tropiest 80s encounter you can think of on your way to the ziggurat at the base of the crypt. So let's start with Keegan. Keegan, tell me.
Oh, don't start with me. I'm not even awake.
Let's start with Aaron. Aaron, why don't you tell me a little bit about one of the encounters that Paprika had as y'all were headed in to the crypt? What's one of the early encounters you had, either maybe right outside the crypt or as y'all were just headed in?
Obviously, outside the crypt, we got attacked by goblins, some goblin bandits, and we defeated most of them and befriended one. But then Steven did a fastball special with our goblin friend to throw it at some other monster. What's a good on the road monster?
A falcon grizzly, because we don't
Yeah.
want to infringe. We don't do anything D&D 5e compliant.
Owlbears are OGL, right? I think you can use owlbears. Anyway, yeah, he threw our goblin friend Frack at an owlbear, and the owlbear swatted Frack out of the air, killed Frack, and then Steven rushed in with the sword and killed the owlbear.
Oh man, that sounds horrible. Do me a favor, make me a lips roll, and then tell me how you convinced Frack to be your friend initially.
I hit my score. I got a 7 lips. I rolled a 7.
And is it on the dot? Is that success, or is that within the margin of error?
You know, this is what I keep wondering, because my brain does weird things when I am given a roll over or under, but I'm pretty sure that roll under in my mind translates to only under.
Roll less than. But this would be in the margin of error. So within the realm of Himbos, rolling at the number or within the margin is going to give you a mixed success. So tell me what confusion there was when you were trying to kind of initially make friends with Frack.
Obviously, there was confusion because we killed all of his friends. That was a big moment where I think they were all trying to befriend us. But as a former lumberjack, I have some distrust of forest goblins, and I got a little jumpy on the axe handle. So it was my bad.
So Frack came up like hands outspread, speaking, doing a traditional goblin greeting, offering you a sack of gold, and you were and you just jumped over him and slew his friends in one mighty chop, before turning around to him and then realizing what he was offering you.
Right.
Cool. So it was already kind of a tense relationship.
My bad.
It's okay. It happens. This is my fourth group of friends this week. Really, people are starting to talk, and I don't have a lot left going for me. So hopefully,
Hey, keep that gold. Once we get back to town, buy yourself something nice.
Thanks. I think things are starting to look up. And then we see Frack, flying through the air at the Falcon Grizzly, getting bitten too. And we watch the gold, we watch the blood splatter on the ground and the gold slowly drop into the sand, the muddy, bloody sand down below. As Frack dies. Awesome. Max, early on in the Crypt of Tr'Ops, what is an encounter that we had, and how did Trunk seek to overcome it?
I feel so I think we saw probably another group of some kind of little normal aggressive creature, maybe some lizard men. We love a lizard man. Maybe some lizard men in there just hanging out, but managed to not really get into a huge fight with them, because we put on a really good classic 80s metal concert. We have Panther. This is what I'm thinking. We have a Panther.
Yeah, this makes sense.
It was a Panthera concert.
Yeah, Maxitar is for sure the star of our new band.
Cool. That sounds like it'll eventually be a lips roll. I don't know that there's anything for group action, but anybody can help in any way they want to. What instrument did Trunk play / improvise as part of this metal band experience? By the way, everyone's going to get asked this question now in order to contribute to this roll. So,
since Trunk only has one single bit of rope, I think probably I tied it to something. There's a little sconce or holder for a torch, and then just pulled it as taut as I could and tried to do a one a one-stringed banjo situation.
Cool.
Real folk instrument there.
Yeah. No, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you play up and down to get different tones. You can adjust how loose or tight it is to get a
Yeah,
little
the
bit.
more tension you put on it, it changes the note.
Yeah.
It's
And
real.
like Cookie like jumping about on the other end.
Hell
trying
yeah.
to, like,
Hell yeah.
Love that. What Keegan, what was Guy's part in the performance?
Well, I think Guy was drumming, but they can't keep a beat, so it was a little bit of a mess.
Okay. But the attempt was there. And then
The attempt was there.
Aaron, what was Paprika up to during this show?
Two of my 4 skills are sing and dance, so that's what I was doing.
So were you the front person for this performance? You and the Panther?
I assume the Panther was. Yeah, I was more
The
back
Panther
up.
really provided the vocals.
You were doing the hype. You were the hype man for this, like
Just like classic backup singer.
back vocals.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So go ahead. This sounds lips to me. Again, go ahead and make a lips roll trunk. But you're gonna get everyone's helping you, so you're gonna get an additional +2 plus whatever the animal provides for you plus anything else you have.
I'm using my understand birds here to be in tune with Cookie.
To be in tune with Cookie, gotcha.
Because I need all the help I can get. Hey, I rolled a 2.
Awesome. So this goes off incredibly well. So the lizard people invite you to sit down, and they kind of give you the layout of the entire tomb. They don't go down very deep, so they're like, we stay away from the ziggurat, but you can go, and they kind of like tell you a couple of major traps, like how to avoid them, how to get around, and give you kind of the lay of the land as far as this crypt goes, to let you be able to get down even more quickly. Keegan, tell us about the last encounter you'll have before you get to the ziggurat that Guy was central in.
Yeah, of course. I think to get there, we had to solve some sort of puzzle. One of those classic, like, there's 3 mouths that you have to put a hand in and pull that lever, but 2 of them will bite you if you try it.
Cool.
Sort of levers. And I think Steven told me, "Oh yeah, the levers for sure in the center mouth." So I tried it.
It's pronounced spider.
Spider, my bad. I think Spider told me to pull the center one, and it did not. I definitely got bit.
Okay. Go ahead and take a point off your heart for getting bit.
Fair.
And so did you just try all of them until you got the right one?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, well, go ahead and take 2 points off heart for me then, since you got bit twice.
Okay, yeah. Extremely fair.
Hopefully that doesn't kill you, because I did forget somebody can have like one heart in this game.
That's fine. I'll just
2
get a
heart
scar
in
and
this
then
game.
pop back up.
Yeah. There was no even roll. This was sheerly you poking around. There's no roll happening here until you pulled it down. And as you pulled it down, like the entire ground started rumbling, and this wall raised up in front of you, and this giant cavernous mouth, this like a large version of the other ones, opened up, and the teeth, looking like stalactites, are where we see now superimposed the image that we saw at the very beginning of our show. The 3 of you standing there with Spider next to you, brandishing the sword of truth. The ziggurat with green electricity kind of going through the different pylons towards the top, and the skeletal figures up above you, with the person mumbling on the altar. On the altar, we now see Jerry Juice chained down, and looks like they might be about to be sacrificed. So what do you do?
No, Jerry. I mean,
Are we interrupting something?
Huh?
Jerry, is this consensual homicide?
Yeah, Jerry.
Jerry just is screaming. They're far enough away you don't think they can hear you, but the Dark Lord looks at you and just gives you a
Oh no, we have to do something.
Yeah, because
It doesn't sound like Jerry wants this.
Jerry does not seem to want this, and the Dark Lord seems to be implying that this is not consensual. And they're oddly proud of that because they're evil, and it's okay to punch them now.
Okay, cool.
So are we about to get serious?
Can we do that? Are we capable of that?
Hold on.
Yeah.
Someone clip that for me,
Somebody
please.
please clip that.
Please clip forever.
I realize we don't have a clip channel on the +1 server, and we desperately need one. Somebody please clip that. This is the best thing that's ever happened on this stream.
Really?
Now I'm serious. And hatchet in one hand and ruby in the other. Paprika charges up the stairs.
Oh no, the sleeves are off. It's serious now. I'm gonna pull out my sword and follow. I'm riding McIntyre for sure.
Awesome.
I go to try and rip my sleeves off and then forget that I don't wear shirts. And so I'm like a slate bomber. It just doesn't work.
So it just ends up being like a strong like muscle rub along your very well defined deltoid. I don't know. I don't.
Arm muscle.
Arm muscle. I'm still not
didn't quite get these off, so
over
I
the
don't-
sleeves. Emotionally,
I'm never going to recover from this.
I'm emotionally ruined for every other stream in the future.
Will you mail me those sleeves and I will put them in a shadow box frame and hide them and hang them on my wall forever?
The sleeves of Paprika. So we see all of a sudden everybody sprint into action. Spider jumps over the stalactites, runs forward. We see Guy hop onto Maxitar and ride forward, hopping like up the steps. What do we see? What do we see everybody else doing?
Trunk for sure is now running very quickly, rewrapping the cookie into backpack form so that Cookie will remain safe.
Okay. And are you do we just see Paprika like after the sleeves fall to the side? What do we see Paprika doing?
I mean, Paprika's gonna run up there and try to do a hatchet toss right at this dark lord.
Oh god, I love that. We're gonna come to that last then.
Yeah.
Excellent. We're not gonna do focus time for this immediate round of actions or anything else like that. We're just gonna kind of narratively let it flow a little bit. Keegan, you're as you're pouncing up, you get up to we'll go with Trunk first. Trunk, you get to the first this skeletal figure that's got like kind of shoulder pads on, a helmet that's just got one horn and then another one kind of off. It's got this giant old rusty mace and this kind of green energy crackling around it. But it's right in front of you and kind of getting ready to heave this mace that's got this green electricity crackling to the end, coming down on it and hit you with it. What do you want to do? Gorgor or Real Meat, hit me with that link over on Discord and I'll toss it in the chat. Max, what do you want to do?
I thought they were cursing. And I was like, oh, I want to know what curse words are happening in the chat. But
We got that Gamer Cheer who's rating us too. Nat Fun is rating us. Hey guys, we're playing Himbos of Myth and Metal. You can check it out at himbosrpg.com. We're in the Crypt of Tr'Ops right now.
no sleeves. Yeah, I think Trunk for sure is just gonna leap up onto like the platform that Jerry is tied down to and just like pop a defensive squat just over to get in between Jerry and said giant mace.
Ooh, so there's a number of people blocking you from there. So you're on step one. So you can't quite get there. You got to work your way through these other beasts. So you've got this skeletal figure, this kind of guardian on one of the lower steps who's blocking you. So you've got to deal with that first, and it's about to hit you.
That's fair. I think the goal remains the same, and so it's gonna be I'm gonna try and dodge and bolt through to get as quickly to the middle as possible.
So you want to dodge around them. That sounds like a thighs roll,
It
an
does.
athletic thing.
Hey, I succeeded. I got a 6.
Awesome. So yeah, you kind of work your way around them as they're kind of trying to swing at you. They're slow and you're in prime and both thing. We see just at one point you're you come up next to them and somebody's like, hey, there's no way that you would have known what the top of that skeleton's helmet looked like, and you would oh, there would be if I was inverted, and you're just upside down looking down at one of these guys. We know that's how you tell the story later. But you start making your way to the top. Keegan, you're up a little bit higher up, having pounced up on Maxitar. What are you doing with the skeletal creature in front of you?
I'd like to pounce down upon it and swing my sword at it.
Okay. So is that a what kind of roll is that?
It's probably a hands roll, which I hate
hands
to
roll.
admit.
Cool.
But I do have a skill of fanciful swordsmanship.
You have a skill of that sounds like it would totally apply to me.
Cool. Yeah, I rolled a 3 against an 8. We are good.
All right, cool. So you kind of clip down into this thing, and you just kind of nail it straight with your sword. You see the head kind of fly off into the air as Maxitar buries its claws, crushing its chest bones down below you, ending this thing. We see Spider decapitating 2 of these things in one swoop with the Sword of Truth as it goes up, and then we see this coming over all of you. We see this hatchet tumbling end over end from behind all of you. Go ahead, Aaron, and make your roll to see how it turns out.
So if I have throw, that adds 1 to my.
Yeah.
I rolled another 7. My hand's a 7, but with throw, it's an 8. So
Awesome.
it's.
Also, you're using your axe, which I think would give you some sort of bonus also too, correct? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So any equipment will give you a bonus, any of your skills give you a bonus. So you're always adjusting what that target number is you want to roll underneath by those things. And so
Cool.
There's
cool.
my hand flip 9 if I'm using my sword. Look at me go.
Damn. Almost 50-50.
There we go. So we watch this cleave right in, and we see the Dark Lord get hit in the chest by this axe, and all of a sudden he turns as if other than his weird nod at you earlier, starts to consider that you potentially might be a threat for the first time, as he puts the knife into his waistband, and green glowing energy starts to form around his hands. He starts shooting at. He starts blasting down at each of you. Everybody roll a d4 for me.
Yes, I have one of those.
2.
Got a 4.
You got a 4. You got a 4. So Aaron, you see blasted back towards you. One of these pieces, one of these bolts of eldritch lightning, kind of shoots out towards you down at the bottom. You can do whatever you want to try to dodge out of the way. Otherwise, it's going to make contact with you.
I'm going to hold up the ruby and hope it fractures out of it. You know, what's it called when light hits a prism?
That it refracts and kind of dissipates. Cool.
Yeah.
This is either going to be amazing or horrible. One of the two. I can't wait to find out.
Right.
Go ahead and make your roll.
That's a 16, which is above any possible stat I could ever get.
Okay, so let's do the whole thing. So what kind of equipment is it? So what's your? Because this sounds like I would say this sounds like a heart.
This is a 4 gold a piece of equipment.
Okay, this sounds like a heart roll. What you're trying to do to me, what's your heart score?
Oh, it starts at 20, right?
Yeah. Heart's just your health, right?
Oh, heart's your health. What's your one that's?
Are you looking for breast,
Breast.
Tony?
Breast. Thank you. I'm looking for breast. Sounds like a breast roll for me.
The outside heart.
The outside heart. But if you have another thought, I would take it. But it sounds like you're just basically trying to take this and redirect it. You've got.
Oh wait, I have the redirect ability.
Even better. So we're gonna start with what's your breast score?
10.
10. What kind of bonus does the ruby give you?
Is it 1 per gold that it's worth, or is it just okay?
That's
So
gonna
that's
be plus gold. That's gonna move
4.
you up to 14. And then you've got redirect, which is a skill, correct?
No, it's
Redirect is a fancy ability.
special.
So what does redirect do?
I have to do a successful breast roll, which I did not do.
Okay. But it does sound like you are in the margin, I think, correct?
In the window of error.
In the window of error.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a partial success because
Yeah.
that +4 that you have basically gives you the range for that success. So if you rolled a 14 or less, it would have been a success. Less than a 14. 14 to 18 is going to be a partial success in some way, shape, or form. So you tell me a little bit about how you redirect this, and I'll tell you a little bit about the damage that it does to you.
Can it blow up the ruby?
It can blow up. If you want to sacrifice this, you want to sacrifice the ruby, I will let you move this to a full success.
I mean, I'm okay taking damage. I just thought it would be cool if the ruby exploded.
I don't think. I think the ruby is good for this. So unless you really want it to explode as a way to do it, I'm just gonna have you take some damage.
I'll take some damage. I love to take damage.
So you're gonna take 5 damage.
All right.
Cool. But tell me what it looks like as you redirect. You do successfully redirect the blast. You just don't block it from hitting you. What does that look like?
Yeah, I think it does. It does refract, and so I was about to take the whole piece of lightning, but some of it refracts through the ruby and shoots off, so I only take the partial damage.
Roll a d6 for me.
3.
Awesome. Keegan and Max, each of you roll a d4 for me.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
I got 3.
So the good news is the member of the party it hits is Spider. You watch the other 2 skeletons kind of melt as this green lightning hits them. All of a sudden, Spider goes, "Hey!" Turns around. Look, I know that you guys don't like me. I know you've been talking about me behind my back. I know you've been calling me Steven still on purpose just to get under my skin. Let's just finish this job so we can all go home.
Spider, what are you talking about?
He's so angry.
I
feel like he's got some unresolved hostility issues.
Spider, when this is done, do you need a hug?
We can hug it out. We can take a hug break.
Look, look, we can talk about what happens next. I've got things I need to tell y'all. And so I like how my Spider accent's been completely inconsistent.
Just different every time you use them. Beautiful.
There's some narrative stuff happening in the background that I'll use later to explain it.
The actor that played Spider originally died
in the deep lore. In the deep lore. You make it. Anybody who has been advancing has made it up further during this time. So you and now there's the way has been cleared. So you find yourself surrounding the Dark Lord. Again, they've got the Eldritch energy that they are now starting to coalesce over their head. It's much larger than it was before. Paprika, you're still down at the bottom, having been dealing with reflecting the blasts all around. But what does everybody want to do?
I'm going to carry on with my intention to get in between the blast and good old Jerry. I'm gonna body protect Jerry.
Awesome. You're just trying to get yourself in the way. You're not. This does not sound athletic to me. This sounds like an endurance thing, which I think are both breast, but I'm not. One is thighs and one is breast. Correct?
Yeah, it's probably Again, these are open to interpretation,
right.
But I would probably say maybe breast, which is a terrible idea. It's my worst stat. But but I'm just trying to absorb and be tough.
Cool. Okay. If/when it comes up, that'll be good to know. Keegan, what are you doing?
So Spider's like an incredible hero. So what I would like to do is use magic to replace the positions of Jerry and Spider.
Yes.
Cool. How exactly does magic is how are you building this spell? How does magic work?
Hey, that's a great question. Hey, Max, how does magic work?
Okay, so the way magic works is that you're going to answer a series of questions that'll determine what the cost of the spell is. I can ask you the questions. And then you will roll under your current heart. The cool thing is that if it's at like the beginning of a session and it's like the beginning of a game or whatever, you actually like get a freebie if you haven't been hit because your heart is currently at 20, right?
No, it's at 18 because I got bit twice.
There's stuff in their head.
Great. I would get a freebie in this circumstance. You will not. So you
Yeah.
will roll under it to see if it goes off. And if it goes off, it goes off how it goes off. And then if it doesn't, there's a table of weird magical effects that happen when it messes up. But the questions are, does the effect target more than one person?
Yeah, it's Jerry and Spider.
Yeah. It's not more than 5. Does it intend to do harm? No.
No.
Really? Does the effect involve a space larger than 5 feet?
I would say at this point, probably yes.
Yeah.
Does it displace more than 20 pounds? For sure. Some big beefy bodies. Does it involve healing? No. Are you calling or crafting an element that is not in the space already? Also no. So it's going to cost 3 heart, but you pay that regardless after your roll. So
Cool.
roll under your 18. Roll a 20 though. It's fun when you fuck.
No, I rolled a 10. We're good.
All right. So we see like some of your vital essence come up. Describe it as what it looks like as this spell goes off.
Yeah, I think I think you hear guy go, "Look, Spider, we really need your help here, man." And we see sort of, guy's been a farmer, so I think this is some sort of like green, like grasses grow around me and stuff like that. And then there's just like a sound, and then boop, they've swapped places.
Awesome. And everything smells like hay now too. Like like this fragrant kind of warm hay baked in the sun aroma fills the entire room. As Jerry is now standing right next to the Dark Lord, with their hands in the air, and Spider is now strapped down, ready on the altar. I love that. So, Trunk, you all of a sudden see you've positioned yourself, and all of a sudden you see Jerry right in front of you, going like they were tied up like this before. Now they've got their hands like as if they were about to strike downward. And I'm gonna. And I'll give it to you either way, Keegan. Where is the Sword of Truth?
Oh, I think it's still in his hands.
In Spider's hands?
Yeah, I don't think I thought to move anything else.
No, that's fine. I was curious if you just were like, I'm going to leave it there, and now Jerry is in position to strike the Dark Lord or not.
No, that would be thinking.
Okay, I was just making sure. And then Paprika, anything you're doing from a distance?
I mean, Paprika has 2 modes, chop and throw. I think I'm just going to lob this ruby at the Dark Lord.
You'll never see it coming.
I love it. Go ahead and make that throw roll for me.
That's a 1. Is that a critical hit?
I mean, it's a big fancy success for sure.
Yeah. So here's what happens. We see Jerry kind of come down like in the momentum that Spider had built up, ready to lop off the head of the Dark Lord. Just kind of hit him in the back of the head, and not much happens except for the Dark Lord stumbles forward almost as if they're about to fall off the ziggurat, head like kind of downward. At the same time, we see you launch the ruby, and we see it slow-mo end over end spinning to them. The camera like whips around, and we almost enter into Ruby's perspective as it buries itself right in his forehead. And all of a sudden you go, what? And we see like knowledge overloading the Dark Lord as all the potential realities that exist flood into his mind, and then we just watch his head pop and explode, and he falls to the ground. You successfully defeated the Dark Lord of the Crypt of Tr'Ops by throwing the ruby of divination into the middle of his forehead, thanks to Jerry doing some really good positioning for you there. So y'all correctly y'all have finished the crypt. Tell me, do you leave Spider there? Do you? Which I should say, do you forget about Spider being there as you go off to celebrate? Because you would never intentionally leave Spider there, because that would not be a good, kind, heroic thing to do. But what is everybody going to do as you're headed back to town?
I for sure am noticing that Jerry is no longer underneath me, would forget that Spider is there, and will attempt to just like run over to like give Jerry a nice comforting hug and then help Jerry out of said crypt.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions for Jerry about if jalapenos are mammals or not.
I'm
And
I'm not entirely sure what you a mammal is. What?
Well, because you can milk them.
So jalapeno milk is not actually a milk. It's actually like more like a slurry mixed with water.
That doesn't make any sense. So it's not a.
So think about it like you gotta hydrate, bro. Spice up. Right?
Yes.
And so yeah, that like that, I think, right?
So they're mammals. Got it.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, sure. And so what is Paprika doing?
Paprika goes to retrieve their axe up from the Dark Lord's body and says to Spider, "Hey, I don't know what happened there. Things got a little crazy, but it looks like my ruby blew up. So you probably won't betray me now," which I'm really happy about. And I untie Spider and pat him on the leg and say, "Good adventure. Looks like you got yourself a ziggurat here."
Yeah, I mean, this isn't really my style. And like I said before, bro, like I was never planning to betray you. Like, why would I do that?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
you only betray people who maybe betray you.
yeah, like this is probably my last my last group adventure. Like I think I'm really at the point where like I'm ready to strike out on my own as a full hero. Like I'm ready to go for it.
Okay, well, maybe if our paths cross.
Well, I'll tell you what, as part of a thank you for helping me get here, like I don't know about y'all, but like I know for most bows, we all have a cheat day, and we all know what we do on that cheat day, and that's brunch. So what I would love is tomorrow morning just take y'all out for a bow brunch. You know what I'm saying? Like get in there, like mimosas. Like we can keep it high protein, you know what I'm saying? But whatever. I think we just go crazy. There's a phenomenal brunch place that I'd really love to hit tomorrow morning. On Saturdays they do their special crepes on the borderland, and I would love to pick me up some of those for the entire party. You guys want to meet me there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love a crepe.
it is traditional to like grieve a fallen bow who is descending into herodom.
All right. Well, I'll meet y'all there. Here's the address. It's kind of a tough place to get into, but I picked up some resis for us for tomorrow. So if y'all want to meet me there, probably just like a little after 10, you know, like not too early. Get a good night's sleep. Hit your like, you know, just sleep until like 5 a.m. Get up, do your normal reps, like, and then we'll just head over there around 10, and I'll get us settled.
Great. Thank you.
Cool. So y'all make it back to town. Y'all get set up. Y'all do anything you want to say you've done over the night and into the next morning is absolutely fine. We'll absolutely make it happen. I guess this is the real question. You know, this is you have just helped save Jerry Juice of the Jerry Juice family. Max, do you feel like this has advanced your relationship with them? Do you feel like you've raised an esteem in their eyes?
I mean, I would hope so, but also like Jerry is free. Like, Jerry doesn't need to go full damn.
No. And also, I picked a gender neutral name on purpose. Whatever gender assignment you want to give Jerry, you're good to. So,
yeah, I feel like at the very least, I think there's like a spark happening, but it's gonna have to be like cultivated over many, many, like
Protein
jalapeno
smoothies.
Mini
Yeah.
jalapeno smoothies. Awesome.
I think
Excellent.
the offer is like, oh, maybe there's some free jalapeno smoothies to ensure that like maybe all of us carry on at Jerry's Juice.
The jalapeno smoothies are actually called the slow burn. And it's also because that's what your romance is.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Actually, it wasn't called the slow burn before, but when it goes back the next time, you do notice that it is called the slow burn now. Like Jerry has renamed it as if indicating their mutual understanding and consent in this relationship. And so
I envision it being like real awkward, like two really big dudes just being super awkward about it. And probably what that means is that Jerry has taken a special interest in Cookie. That is the only way. We are only flirting for like special.
Yeah.
I want to learn about chickens all of a sudden.
yeah, and also that weird like kind of mutual pet ownership that sometimes happen in early stage of flirtation, where they kind of take some level of assertion or ownership over a pet that you have.
Where I say a weird thing like, "Oh yeah, Cookie's really taken to you."
Yeah.
Like,
They're like,
he shows-
I really like
He
Cookie
shows up with a
also, and you're
collar
like,
for
I don't
Cookie one
know.
day. Just in case you ever lose him.
Just like a little gilded backpack now, as opposed to.
He buys you a nicer rope for it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The other question is, do you plan on Jerry joining y'all tomorrow morning for brunch or not?
I feel like if Jerry wants to come,
Oh, I'm busy. I have to open the juice shop in the morning. I've been gone for the last 3 days because I was horribly kidnapped by the Dark Lord. But maybe in the future, yeah. I don't know if chickens are allowed or not.
I mean, it's fine. We'll stop by on the way because, like, regardless of the brunch situation, I gotta start my morning with.
You got to start your morning right. So you stop by in the morning, you pick up a slow burn after your. It's chest day or breast day. It's breast day. So everybody's got to hit, bust out some reps on the old military press at Titan's gym. And so, but yeah, y'all are headed over to the brunch place afterwards. As you pull up on it, there's no name outside this place, but there is a line going down and around the street. What do you do?
Well, I want you to know, first of all, I'm an hour late.
Typical.
An hour late for brunch or an hour late for workout or everything?
An hour late for brunch. I'm gonna miss my morning workout altogether.
Whoa, you're skipping
It's a cheat
breast
day.
It's a cheat day. That's true. We'll see what happens. Is anybody else blasting out a set beforehand, or is everybody sleeping in this morning?
Oh no, 100%. I would never skip breast day. Gotta work on that cleave.
It's your favorite day.
Yeah, same.
So y'all wake up. You guys know that it's not uncommon for a guy to skip a breast day every now and then, especially after a big workout like the one y'all had the day before. But yeah, and then you grab smoothies, head over. You're waiting at the corner. Do y'all as you pull up? There's no sign of Guy. Do y'all just pull up in line? Do you go up talk to the server at the front? What do you do?
I mean, we have reservations, right?
Spider said he's got resis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
go.
It's under Spider, maybe Steven. I walk up and I'm just so uncomfortable saying, I think we have reservations under Spider. Spider.
I do not see these reservations for Spider.
It's spelled with a Y.
Who spells Spider with a Y?
Spider does.
I do not. I have no Spider. You can wait in line with everyone else. I'll let you know when table. How many in the table?
There are 3 people, 1 panther, and 1 chicken.
3 people, 1 panther, 1 chicken. Indoor, or outdoor.
I mean, outdoor, right?
Yeah, always.
You can't cage a panther.
That is the way I would do it, but it is up to you.
No, you're the expert.
No, I outdoor is the way to go every single time. Yes, go wait in the line. I'll let you know when it is done.
Thank you. What was your name?
Maitre de Guston.
That's just the mean thing I do to every GM.
Maitre de Guston. Have you not heard of me?
Yeah, I have. I just didn't know your name.
Okay,
Now that I know it.
I'll forget it.
No.
So yeah, he sends you guys to the back of the line. It is you go down a block, another block, you take a left, and you get to the end of the line. It's a very popular establishment. You don't know exactly what's going on as far as with Spider or not. But a quick look inside, you didn't see him in there, and so you've moved up about a block by the time Guy shows up an hour later.
Oh, hey, thanks for coming early.
Yeah, we're saving you a spot.
Thanks so much.
Spider found, unsurprisingly.
Yeah, did you see Spider on your way here?
No, he's not here.
No, but they did bring us little mimosas.
Yeah, there's somebody working their way up and down the line with mimosas, so y'all can pregame before you get inside.
Perfect.
This place knows how to do brunch right.
I for sure look absurd with a small mimosa glass.
Right, it's like a half-size one.
Yeah,
The question is, does Cookie get a smaller mimosa glass?
absolutely. So
Some cookies on my shoulder, just
yeah, so they actually serve it in like a small martini glass. Totally improper, but easier for the chicken to get the beak down into.
That makes sense.
To get it, and so yeah, y'all are waiting as you pass kind of a darkened alley. You've got the line stretching in front of you, line stretching behind you. You hear a voice inside. Go, help! Help! What do you do,
I
boss?
immediately throw my martini glass down
guys are
and rush
grumbling.
into the alley.
Mexitar is dark vision.
Maxitor has dark vision. That's great. You still can't see any color.
Oh, damn.
And you're limited. You're limited to 60 feet. So Maxitar
Okay.
knows what's happening, but they're
You can
also
see it as if
Panther.
it's dim lighting.
Correct.
Instead of cool.
And so what do you? You get in there and you see this figure on the ground. In a you can't tell because it's dark vision. In some kind of robe, and there seems to be kind of pools of liquid all around them.
Oh,
Did
no,
you
some
spill your
mimosa-
mimosa? I can bring you another one. We need 2 mimosas over here, stat.
I like show up after running and being like, "It's fine, you can have mine. Cookie needs theirs." But
As you roll this person over, they've got a dagger sticking out the side of their stomach.
Cancel those mimosas.
Oh, that's a sick body modification.
was this consensual homicide? Did you mess up? I know it's tricky to get right the first time.
They robbed me. They took my spot in line. I had reservations for 11 a.m. and I'm afraid I won't be getting those crepes now.
Was it a consensual robbery?
It was not consensual.
Is this Spider?
It's not Spider. You've never seen this person before.
Oh, he's the same. No.
You and Spider just both like crepes. I'm sorry. I mean, heal spell, bro.
I can do that. I gave myself I wrote an ability that's not in the ash can for that. I'll heal them.
So what's the ability?
My special ability is that I'm a battery and can transfer my my heart score to others.
Oh, I love that. So this sounds like a hands roll to me.
Or breast.
Or which I mean, whichever way you want to do it.
I'm much better at hands. But I'm gonna lay on hands.
Gonna lay on hands.
And I'm going to succeed. It's gonna be great. Roll a 7.
Awesome. So you are able. Tell me what it looks like as you heal this person.
Yeah, I think I just like I'm gonna just like touch their shoulders and make uncomfortable eye contact and think really hard about them feeling better. Cartoon levels of like just literal rays of sunshine. Just
Awesome.
thinking really hard.
So you all of a sudden see this person kind of get rid. Oh, thank you so much. I feel so much better. There were three of them. They got the jump on me, and they wanted my reservation. They said that they couldn't get a spot here, and that they needed them. They ran off that way. And he points to the other end of the alley. You can see the people behind you like slowly starting to kind of move forward and try to fill in your spot in the line.
We gotta rush after them, right?
We gotta.
They just went to the end of the line that has now wrapped around the block to the other side of the alley.
Do what?
Did
Yeah. Well, maybe you don't know exactly what they ran off the other way. You can, if you look down, you see the line has gotten even longer now. But yeah, there are people trying to fill in and take your, and like people behind you are like, they stepped out of line and they've been over there for a while, and maybe we should step up. What do you do?
I run down to the other end of the alley and yell, "Who here is a brunch murderer?"
Brunch robber.
And
robber and murderer.
Everybody like kind of looks at each other.
Non-consensual.
You, as you look at them, like nobody immediately volunteers, and they just kind of like all point at each other.
All of you?
No. Those guys. And they point at three. Like everybody else is like out in their Sunday brunch or their Saturday brunch best, right? Like bright colors, like like lots of peacocking happening here. But there are like three people in gray shadowy like cloaks, and it looks like one of them has blood dripping off of a knife at their waist, and they're like, "Not us."
If only Kate was here. She was really good at vibe checking. I don't know how to read a person. How else will we know?
It was like, "Not us." I mean, like we just got in line like everybody else.
Let me see your reservations. Wait, why did they get in line if they stole reservations? They make a good point.
Yeah, like why would we get in line if we had reservations? That's a good point. We just made.
What is, we didn't ask the name. We didn't ask the name that the reservations were under.
As you look back towards the other end of the alley, the person who you wait, had all of you come down this way, or is it just
Oh yeah, I would run
just
after.
freaking out? Cool. As you look down towards the other end, the guy who was stabbed has gotten up and is now standing in your place in line.
Oh, cool, bro. Are you sitting with us?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, my bad. You must be someone different.
Yeah. I'm just here waiting. You should probably go to the back of the line though.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's fair. That's true. We did step out of line. Nobody likes that.
Right.
So you guys wait in line. You're kind of working your way down further again, backtracking over, and you get you're a little bit worried about missing the brunch hour at this point in time, and all of a sudden like traffic gets stopped, and you see that same traffic guard from last session, like directing traffic in the middle of the room, but all of a sudden like he's just letting like car after car after car after cross, and it's caused the line to get split. And you can see across on the other side of traffic that there are people starting to queue up, cutting this line off and creating a new section of line. What do you want to do?
Is this unjust?
Look, I mean, I can't tell you what your characters or players think. If you think people starting to move the line in a new direction because it's more convenient for you, less more convenient for them seems unjust, and this is unjust.
I feel like line order is like this is a sacred pact that must be honored. The brunch line order. Maybe I only say this as somebody who recently spent 20 years in Toronto, but the brunch line order is the only thing we believe in.
Without the brunch line order, the world will descend into chaos.
Into chaos. The order of the brunch line is my new Himbos cult. Yeah, I feel like I do not like this behavior. Am I gonna do this? I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and I think I'm gonna try and cast a spell, but what I'm gonna try and do is make like a little force field around the brunch line. This is the order that you have to enter at the back. You cannot enter the brunch line.
So it goes all the around the whole brunch line and then like extends back, and people have to fill in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's only one entrance to the brunch line. You also can't step out of the brunch line.
Cool.
I love it.
So brunch or death. I love this spell. So what's the questions that we're talking about here?
Okay, does the effect target more than one person? For sure. More than 5? Absolutely. Does it intend to do harm? No, not directly. Does it involve a space larger than 5 feet? For sure. Does it displace more than 20 pounds over the course of its life? Absolutely. Am I calling or crafting an element that's not in the space already? I suppose that could be true if I'm using, depending on whatever.
Yeah, what are you crafting it out of?
Yeah, like I feel like, let's go with wind. I feel comfortable with being like, this is just a rebuttal of like, it's a very windy tunnel on both sides of the brunch line.
I love it.
Okay, so I'm gonna roll, and then we're gonna see if it happens, and then I'm gonna pay a lot of heart. I think that's a 5 heart spell.
Yeah.
Quarter of my lifeblood.
I feel like we could argue that there is already wind here.
I would say I would give you wind on this one. I think wind would be a subset of air, and I think it would be hard to argue that there's not wind and air in this city.
Fair.
So
yeah.
4. A fifth of your health instead.
I succeeded. I wouldn't have the next time, so I will pay my 4 heart.
Cool.
And make a little wind tunnel, a couple of wind tunnels around the brunch line.
Yeah, so what we see, like you all of a sudden see from the front, like you see people holding menus, just kind of casually observing them. All of a sudden, like you watch those menus get like flipped out of their hands and start spinning into this like kind of circular vortex that covers the top. The folks who are trying to get in line are rebuffed. Here's the most important thing though, the traffic that was going across now, like they're hitting this wind barrier, and all of a sudden, like you've got like carts that are coming through and trying to navigate that wind tunnel all of a sudden, horses that are very upset, and so the first cart that hits it is just going fast enough to like go through it. Second cart slows down a little bit, still makes it through. The third cart, the horses and other things are getting very worried by what they see in front of them, and so the horses like get into the middle of the tunnel and start to like kick up, and they then stamp through, and it looks like this cart is about to come over and tip on the other side down. I don't know if there's anything that y'all can do at this point in time.
No, because we can't get out of line.
You can't get out of line.
I care only about maintaining the brunch line.
That's awesome. That's fine. But then it does stop the rest of traffic. And y'all have basically essentially sectioned off like 6 blocks of town now by this wind tunnel and the way it winds around as well. Like it is, but the brunch line shall not be validated.
And luckily, the traffic guard is here to redirect traffic around.
Yeah, like he looks at y'all and it looks like he's about to say something, and then he recognizes you from the other day. His eyes go wide, and he like is looking around for your friend, but then he just decides not to do anything about it and just goes to like redirect traffic and get it kind of moved around for the city. You see him kind of starting to move folks back around as y'all move forward in line. As you get up to the next section.
Can I point out real fast?
Yeah.
A very sad thing about this is there's no more free mimosas because they can't get to the back.
So that's the thing. There are no more free mimosas. Initially, like you're like, okay, maybe we can work out a system. But like they start like passing mimosas back, and as they get to y'all don't realize this is a pass them back thing. So y'all are just like mimosa, as you go, not realizing that there are people behind you who those mimosas might have been for also too. And so,
look, I'm sorry, man. Maxitar's just really thirsty.
So Maxidar is getting a little wobbly at this point in time.
Yeah.
So y'all get back up to the front, and Maitre D is there again. And they're like, I guess we can seat you now. I think your other party member has arrived as well. And you look inside, and Spider is sitting at a table out on the patio, like waving at y'all to come over.
Is it the table for 3 we ordered?
Yeah, so there's not enough space for all of y'all.
This is his betrayal.
This is his cursed but inevitable betrayal.
That's what you saw. Was this your vision?
It's I look around, the table was in the ruby, the wind tunnel. I was so confused.
You
Now
thought
makes
it was something
perfect sense.
entirely different, but now it's become clear. And they're like, like I'm sure we could just pull up another chair, probably, right?
No, it's fine. I skipped the gym. I can just make this a leg day. I'll just stand.
Oh, I thought you were gonna air sit. Are you gonna just?
No, I'm just going to stand.
I thought you were
real
just gonna squat
awkwardly
it
over everyone.
Awesome. So y'all sit down. What's everybody ordering?
Maitre d', can we get a stool for the chicken for Cookie?
Oh, yes. The classic chicken stool. Yes, let me go get one of them. And so they go and get a stool that and then like they hit the bottom of it, and like a little like perch pops up out of it. And they go, yeah, for the chicken.
I'm gonna order eggs Benedict, and I'm gonna share it with Cookie.
That's horrifying.
Okay, pause real quick. We had a local access station in the town I grew up in, Allen, Texas, and the high school, which was a very, very large high school, had a very successful broadcast and media program, and so the high school students would actually put on content for the local access channel. So anything we produced, we could get put out on local public access television. I had a sketch comedy show that was called I Can't Believe You're Actually Watching This Show. And we definitely only did 3 episodes, but an ongoing feature was public service announcements about the fact that chickens will eat chicken. And so
They
it was
will.
chickens eat them before they eat themselves. And we just went to our friends' houses who owned a bunch of chicken and tried to feed the chickens chicken repeatedly. Never actually did successfully. And then cut that footage into PSAs.
You know,
That's
it's
really
actually
fucked up.
recommended for chickens to eat their own eggs because it's a good source of calcium.
There we go. So yeah, I'll never be able to run for public office because of that. Like the chicken lobby will come after me without a doubt.
I believe that.
And so that's the only thing stopping me.
Tony would be president if not for
my
chickens.
my high school. Let that be a lesson to all of you out there watching right now.
Don't go to high school.
Don't go to high school.
Don't go to high school.
So anyways, back to that. Yeah. So you start sharing that. What's everybody else getting? Is anybody getting the crepes on the Borderland?
No, I actually ordered a different special, the Lost Shrine of Tomato Chan, which is like a crazy pile of omelets with mostly tomatoes, but also a bunch of other, mushrooms, peppers, cheese.
So Third Joe, I have a VHS of those episodes.
Kickstarter stretch goal for whatever you do next.
That's true. I should see if I can get them downloaded.
Yeah, for sure.
The awesome Keegan, what is Guy eating?
I just in real life ate an almond croissant, and that's all I can think about right now.
Excellent. So Spider's like, so here's the deal. I'm about to launch out on my own, bros, and I'm just saying, like, I'm not looking for teamwork anymore, but like I might have a sidekick gig if you want something more permanent than just like freelance stuff.
Maxar, are you looking to be a sidekick?
No, I'm good.
I'm sorry. I assumed y'all would be fighting over this, bros. Like this is like maybe I didn't make myself clear. This is permanent work. There are bennies. Like I've got you covered. Like I'm offering you a job here, working with me. Like let me be clear. this is your chance.
Wait,
I
this is
definitely-
the betrayal.
I'm like, oh, that reminds me, and I wave to like a server, and I'm like, can I get a Benny?
What's a Benny?
They put like it's like a mimosa, but like with frozen ice stuff in it.
Oh wow, you're offering us bennies?
Yeah, I meant like medical, dental, I mean, limited vision coverage. But yeah, I guess like free bennies.
What were you going to
also.
cover my vision with?
Yeah, I mean, whatever you needed.
Night
like I said,
vision?
limit night vision.
Will I get dark vision?
Infravision. Like they've got some cool stuff happening over at the Wizards Tower. I'm just saying, one free vision upgrade, your choice. 50-50 though. You do have to pay the deductible.
Maxitar, would you like to be able to see color in the dark?
I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this.
But then I'm not gonna leave my bros.
Yeah, it's a big commitment.
We can't separate.
Guy seems very interested in the potential vision coverage. So Spider leans in, and you notice they're like, yeah, like I mean, we could let the Panthers see in the dark. Like we could let you see in the dark. We could get you like those weird skin like bone plates that pop out whenever combat happens. That way you don't just get like immediately insta killed. Like we could do some cool stuff. I'm sorry, you said you weren't interested. This is a conversation with me, Guy, and Maxitar now. You can enjoy.
Spider, ever since you got these tattoos, you've changed.
Well, I'm glad you're getting the name right now, but this is what happens when you move up in the world. Like I'm exactly what this country needs right now, and I'm looking for a few of the best recruits I can find. So like, I mean, it's our manifest destiny, if you know what I mean.
Do you think I'd still be able to work on the farm?
I don't know what you mean.
And also, what do you mean?
Well, like you got to understand,
I don't.
like the great prophet said, a law is basically a threat of violence perpetrated by the predominant socioeconomic power of the land, and so I'm ready to perpetrate some violence in the name of the law, if you know what I mean.
I don't.
Right, which is exactly why I need somebody like you in my corner.
But like
Wow.
consensual violence.
Right.
Yeah,
And actual violence. Like, don't get me wrong.
you want to do non-consensual violence?
Well, like
you really have changed, Spider.
they're bad guys, right? Like, I mean, they're the ones.
No, I'm Guy.
It's good guys.
Right, but you got to understand. Look, like you see that guy over there, he's jaywalking, and then
Oh my
like,
god, his name's Guy too? That's the third guy I've met this week.
Oh, then actually, I think he's Guy 3.
no, I just said his name is Jay. He's jaywalking. He's walking like Jay across the street.
Well, if his
But
name
he's
is Jay,
Guy
it's
and he's
not a
walking
crime.
like Jay.
Right. Well, here's what we do with jaywalkers, and then like he steps over the fence on the patio, and he walks over and he just stabs the guy through with his sword. What does everybody want to do?
I pick up a fork and I throw it at him.
Go ahead and make a roll.
Why is this unexpected?
Nothing.
It's completely expected if you
That's another one. Another crit.
I've had to pull out my worst dice to play this game.
You. I saw you going through your chest right beforehand. He like runs the guy through and he goes like that, and he turns around and the fork hits him just like straight in the eye. And you see him go, what have you done?
Spider, I thought your vision was covered.
My beautiful face.
Shouldn't you have seen this coming?
He starts like lashing out with the sword of truth, like assault. Oh my gosh,
I throw a salt shaker at him.
Not assault. Not assault.
I'll come back to
Make
that.
another hands roll, Aaron.
Anybody?
Go for it.
Okay, everybody else is down to just let Aaron talk.
Yeah,
Okay,
just
I just want to make sure.
let
Okay, it's
Aaron
great.
throw
It's
things.
great. I want to let it roll. Okay, Aaron, go ahead and make.
I've taken his seat in this time.
That's a miss. That's a very big miss.
Cool. It goes like the problem is the lid comes off. Like Spider had prepped the salt to just dump all over your stuff whenever you went to go like salt them. And had like slightly loosened the cap. So it just goes everywhere, but that causes it to kind of fly off of the trajectory you thought it would. What is everybody else doing as he's lashing out at you with the sword of truth?
I've since stolen his seat. That's all I want to do.
That's all you want to do?
Yeah, my legs are cramped from standing in the line and then standing at the table.
He needs to stop doing a violence. I would like to take that sword of truth from him.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just gonna try and I guess I'm just gonna try and grab it.
Okay. Great. What is your approach on this? Are we doing breast, hands? This could be thighs, I would even say, dependingly.
I feel like probably it's a hands. Like I'm just gonna try and
Cool.
grab his hand, stop his hand mid swing and be like, "Give me that." Cease. You're ruining brunch. You saw how I feel about the brunch line. Think about how I actually feel about brunch. Hey, I got an 8. I'm good.
All right. So you whip the sword of truth out of his hands. All of a sudden, as you pull the sword of truth out of his hands, you look at everybody around you, and you're able to see the inherent goodness within that person. And you can see so you look over. Let's do this. You look over at Guy. Keegan, as all of a sudden Trunk looks over at you and has this new infused knowledge. What does he see about Guy that represents the purity and goodness of his himbo heart?
Oh, wow, what a question. One I was definitely prepared for. I don't know. What does he see, Tony?
This could be any sort of internalized aspect, something that stands out that is kind of basically the esoteric or spiritual manifestation of how his himbo-ness presents itself. So we know that he's got farms, so all of a sudden you see wheat, kind of golden wheat spinning around him a little bit. What part of his body is particularly highlighted as manifesting the himbo goodness?
Oh, well, it's his hair, obviously. It's big.
Underneath his cap, his hair wafts in the wind. It looks thicker and glossier than normal, and he just looks even hotter than normal. It's just as if all of a sudden everything just kind of alights in perfect orientation as this golden wheat. As you look over at Paprika, Aaron, what do we see? What is in this new kind of superimposed vision shows the himbo goodness of Paprika?
Well, we already talked about how their skill is singing. You just see the constant song in Paprika's heart.
Oh.
Just ringing around it and beating with a rhythm of peace and joy.
It's the rhythm of the night.
That too.
Awesome. As you turn back and you look at Spider, you see none of that. You see what looks like a sack of eggs where his heart would normally be that is bursting out, and small creatures pulsing underneath his skin. He looks haggard and horrible as you all of a sudden now hold the sword. Any sort of light or goodness within him seems to have disappeared. But you have the sword of truth now in your hands.
Yeah. Well, if nobody else wants to do anything, I'm going to turn to Guy and be like, you should not hide away. You should not hide that away. It's majestic, and just nab the hat.
No, my hat.
I can't believe you're hiding this. You should be proud.
We get a slow-mo of you go, You go, no, my hat, but as you do that,
Yeah.
it's the perfect whipping of the hair up in the air as the hat comes off your head, and everybody stops and just looks at how stunning you are.
We learned Guy's secret is that he was an hour late because he was washing his hair.
You gotta brush it like 300 times.
Yeah,
every
for
day.
sure. Portion touch.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna I am going to try and rid Spider of his breakfast eggs. And
Okay.
I will endeavor to use the sword to carve them directly out. I am not fully aware. I'm not fully I don't know how to translate this vision I've had, but there's gross eggs in there, and
Sure.
you sometimes have to cut out the problem part.
Awesome, love it.
Right. What am I? This is my game. What am I rolling? Guys. I rolled a 3.
Rolled a 3. Yeah. So you rolled a 3. You you slice in. Everybody around starts screaming, right? Because what they saw is you just swing a sword into somebody. And your vision, you watch as this thing cleaves through Spider's, all these kind of webs and other things around Spider, and into that egg sac. It cuts it in two, and all of you hear the screaming of 1,000 small voices. As all of a sudden, y'all watch, for everybody else, you see these little bitty beans start popping up out of Spider's skin. The tattoos on his elbows start to melt off, and you all of a sudden see standing in front of you a kind of a renewed version of Stephen. The scars from his life as his travels as a himbo have been removed. He no longer remembers any philosophy, and he's just Stephen again.
Hey, nobody eat these heart beans. These aren't breakfast beans.
Yeah, they all the beans run off into the darkness and scatter off. But they were not breakfast beans, so you could not eat them. Unless you were in the UK, and then you can put beans on whatever you want to at whatever time of day you want to.
You can put them on the street. Put them in your heart.
Put them in your heart. But you have now saved Stephen from whatever was from the heroism that was infecting his heart. And then he's like, bros, thank you so much. I was so entrapped.
I guess I'm going to pull the sword out of his chest and just put a hand there and give him some of my good heals.
He puts his hand over your hand, right? As you do that, he's like, no. He's like, this one's on me. And you feel all of a sudden warmth and bro love overcome you as you're healed back up to full health also too. And as he pulls his hand back, there doesn't appear to be any wound from where you did it. He's like, bros, crepes and omelets and bennies are all on me today. But for real this time, I was going to stick you guys with the bill before. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm so sorry. But for real, it's on me this time. And y'all sit down and y'all have brunch together. And that's the end of Bosu Brunch.
Remember that Aaron ripped their sleeves off on stream? Remember that moment?
I can't stop thinking about it.
I will never stop thinking about it. Let's do our reaction roll. Reaction roll.
That's it. It's
a
just
live stream within a live stream. It's our chance to sit down with a creator whose game we just played, Talk to the Murder Experience, playing that game. Today, we are playing Himbos of Myth and Metal and talking about how Aaron King ripped their sleeves off on stream, and there will never be a better moment in game. I would propose that potentially a new mechanic for Myth and Metal has been born, where if you tear the sleeves off your shirt while playing, some sort of mechanical bonus is enacted. But
I mean, that's
I'm not
just
the designer.
free heat.
Also, didn't you literally roll a critical after doing that? Wasn't your first roll after ripping your arms off throwing the axe? Oh, I guess the axe wasn't the critical.
It wasn't
Yeah,
the critical. It wasn't a crit, but it was a success.
We did get 2 crits.
I did
from
get 2
Aaron
crits.
though.
Yeah.
And he did
So
roll a crit shortly.
that's
He got a
one per
success and
sleeve.
then a crit.
Yeah.
And so,
I'm I'm not even joking about framing those sleeves. If you
I'll
put
send
them
them.
here in my house, I will frame them and give them a plaque.
I'll wash them first.
I'll go to some kids trophy place and get a plaque for them.
Like you just start like do one of the, like just do a resin pour, like working in the middle of your game table. Like this is the sleeve of Aaron motherfucking King. When they
Hey, I
played
love this
Paprika,
game.
they
I
rolled
love
2
this
crits.
game. Let's talk about this game.
Max, for people who weren't with us at the very beginning, tell us a little bit about Himbos and what it is.
Yeah, Himbos is it's my fantasy game. It's inspired by a whole lot of like the OSR games that I have been playing because I enjoy a lot of their simplicity and like fluidity. But instead of going for a lot of like intelligence, puzzle, player knowledge, the targets are comedy and strangeness. I feel very strongly that was exhibited great today. I was gonna tweet, but I was too caught up in things that like, oh, I like a lot of that. I like the idea of like attacking the GM, and I feel like we did that with stupidity. I feel like it was just a constant barrage of like, how are you gonna respond to us not reacting to this prompt the way like a standard fantasy group would?
Yeah, I love that piece I'm playing. It's one of my, you and I have talked about it before. It's one of my favorite pieces. And there's a classic piece of OSR advice for GMs. It's called attack the character sheet, right? So like start doing weird things to your players. I feel like the players on this stream, including me, are very good at turning that around on GMs. Like about saying, no, here's the weird thing I'm going to do all of a sudden. I love seeing that energy come out, and I was not ready for sleeves to be torn off, but I feel like that was an area of effect attack. Like I feel like that was everybody got hit by that, and it was.
That was the only time I've ever actually been affected by a bard.
But I feel like Himbos leans into that space tremendously well, because the theme immediately invites both physicality and adventure archetypes while being like, no, do dumb, weird stuff also too, in a way that I feel like a lot of themes don't hit as well, right? And you also took the classic OSR thing of think through this really hard off the table and be like, no, you don't do that. You don't think through this hard. You don't think through this at all. You just do.
No.
And I loved that. So I'm super excited to hear what everybody else had to play. Keegan, this was not your first time playing. This is your at least second time playing.
Second time.
In a couple of days. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, but what it was like to play Himbos.
Yeah, I'm Keegan. You can find me online at KeeganEXE. But this was a lot of fun. Himbos is a game that very much enables the thing I love to do in role-playing games, which is just like pulling all of the levers, hitting all of the buttons. Like, I'm going to play that character anyway. Now I have a good excuse to.
Awesome. Did you have any questions for Max?
Nope, nothing since last time I played.
Oh yeah, just a reminder, everybody watching, you can go over and watch the TPK roleplay. That is the I would say the prequel, because the way they were framed was kind of independent of each other than adding in a couple of crossover elements and 2 overlapping characters, but certainly set in the same universe in the same city. And a lot of the jokes that we were laughing at very early on that you were like, what? That's where that came up. And so please go watch that and hear Keegan's questions there. Awesome. If you have any more that come up, feel free to, or any more things you want to say, just kick them in whenever. Aaron, tell people who you are, what you do, where they find you online, and what it was like. Also not for the first time for you, because you've been play testing and other things but tell us what it was like to play Himbos.
Yeah, I'm Aaron King, at Aaron MF King on Twitter. I have played Himbos before. I am editing Himbos, and so I'm familiar. I think I like... No game that I've played has captured the sort of 80s cartoon feel of like anything from He-Man to like Rainbow Bright, Friendship is Magic, Care Bears kind of stuff, of just like a thing happens in one episode and is probably never referenced again, and people get into stupid problems and then they help each other out. nothing has captured that feeling more than this game, and I really appreciate that. I think a lot of games ask you to like buy into some sort of verisimilitude or realism, and like my character wouldn't do that dumb thing and get in trouble because they're a seasoned adventurer. But here it's like, do those dumb things, get in trouble, and help each other out, and maybe just do weird magic stuff sometimes as well. I really love it.
Yeah. Weird magic that they've never done before, and even if it would help them out perfectly in a situation in the future, may never do again.
Yeah, exactly.
The plot MacGuffin level of magic in this is very, very, very good. Did you have any questions for Max?
No.
we talk all the time.
No, that's awesome. So Max, you got to play twice your own game, which is a lot of creators' dream. And usually we have creators run, but because we were doing a 2-part, and Max was like, "Well, you'll have to run it." Then I was like, "I mean, I don't have to do anything. It's my channel, but I will. I will because I love Max, and I'm very excited about this game, and I absolutely am fine to let them play their character twice. And I'm glad we made that choice. But tell us what it was like for you to play Himbos.
It was rad. I have realized that this is. I'm going to compliment my own game by dissing my own player skill. I have a really hard time getting into not thinking about how to actually solve problems. Like, it's interesting to watch the oh, I just have to think like from a player standpoint, I have to think about this differently than I'm used to thinking about playing games, especially like fantasy and like OSR adjacent ones, which I'm finding to be a very fun problem. But my brain's like, oh, how do I, we talked about this a little bit on the other stream, but like the himbo logic of like, how do I get, because as a player, I'm like, I know how to solve this, and how do I get there, but not by a direct path? How do I get there by a weird obtuse path? Which is like it's like a weirdly different problem solve, right? It's like I'm overthinking how to be dumb is what's happening for me, which I'm actually really enjoying, but is a very strange space to be in. Trying to figure out like, oh, I don't want to do the logical right thing.
Yeah.
I want to do something that still gets there, and kind of like reverse engineer a problem, not through trying to apply intellect to it, is kind of fun. So I'm having a blast playing it. I like that I get to play it because I think it's really like will help finesse some of what ends up in the final product, right? Because we're still in like playtesting. It's still kind of, most of the mechanics are there, but I'm for sure gonna potentially like adjust and shift some things, or even just put some like commentary on how these things actually work into the book. And it's really helping me kind of crystallize some of that. Which is great.
No, I love it. There's a class. It's really funny. There's lots of times acting advice and player advice have some overlap, but there is one area in which I find the advice that they will talk about for actors a lot of the time and for role players are very different. Smart players have a really hard time playing dumb characters. Like you can either be a person of moderate intelligence playing a dumber character, or you can be a genius playing a dumb character. But people who are clever and smart oftentimes have a harder time playing dumber until they get the player skill where it's like, oh no, I just do dumb stuff. And so I 100% experience, like, even when I'm doing this, I'm like, oh, I want to do the random dumb thing, but I want to do the smart random dumb thing, and just letting go of that seems very hard. For actors, they're always like, cast the smartest person you know to play a dumb person, or cast like the nicest person you know to play mean people, because they know what it's like to be on the receiving end of that, and they're able to tap into something really deep as far as where that's at, and then you don't ever have to worry about, are they going to bleed that over into their real lives. And I feel like it's always such a challenge for me to be like, because I'm only in that medium smart level where I'm like, no, I can't just give up my tactical choices that I want to make right now. And so,
well, haha, I'm dumb as shit in real life. This game's great for me.
I just assumed that you and Aaron were geniuses, and so that way it was so easy.
No, dumb as shit. I'm speaking for myself here, but Aaron's nodding, so I feel like I'm speaking for both of us now.
But I think it's something that really takes player development to just be good at being bad in some ways, right? Like learning to let go of a lot of what a lot of other games have told us is how we need to play, especially within the OSR space, right?
It's a little bit.
Go ahead.
It's a little bit of a clap back for me as well against the idea that like you cannot play this game if you want to have like an adversarial GM mentality, right? Like if that is a style of play you want to do, this game will never work for you.
Yeah.
It has to be, because I have to trust, and obviously I do in this context, like we all have to trust that we are going to lob you the softest ball that has ever, so soft it may wrap around the bat that you try to hit it back with us, right? Like and that has to be like very back and forth for that to work. If it's going to be like, I'm not trying to solve it, you have clear answers to, right? Like there isn't, and that part's really intentional, where like this really has to be, everybody has to be game to play this weird thing and let it go as like bizarro and funny as it can. I'm sure other folks there's also a lot of potential to play it much more heartfelt than I think the four of us are prone to doing, at least, especially when playing with each other. But
but I still love, I loved the tone and things that came in from that. And going to one of Aaron's statements, and as you were talking about like still being in development, there were a couple of times where I really wanted to be like, I want there to be a mechanic where you can friendship as magic bullshit, right? Like not just using magic, but basically like I let y'all help each other and add something. There's a help mechanic in there, but I do wonder about like our himbo powers unite, like where that comes in as a thing. Because at the end, like even with you having this sort of truth, being able to name those things about the character that stand out, I was like, oh, but I want the song in Aaron's heart to wrap around this sword as you stab it into the thing, and like have like wheat sprout out of this guy's head and push these spiders out of his body as a like unified moment, which is a weird thing for me as a GM, right? Like I love games that let you build weird narrative pieces into overwhelming like tactical force, where like story game becomes a way of min-maxing. But
how cool the magic system is already, it does not feel like it would be super difficult to
I don't think
that.
so. I don't think so either. I don't know what it is, but
I'm probably gonna put in, actually, because it's like come up a couple times both when playing and also when playtesting, is that like there are the three kind of like just little descriptive traits when you generate your character, right? Like what's big about you, what's your physique like, and then what is your general personality, like what positive personality you have. And a couple folks have been like, is there a way to like mechanize that a little bit? And so I probably will be like, yeah, it's like, you know, like Trunk is honorable. Trunk is very honorable, and so it's like if I act in a way that kind of like really aligns with that behavior, I want there to be some mechanical interplay with that, which I think might help with that.
No, like I said, I love stuff like that, and it's because this moves right up to the edge of that, right? Like, and because there's a lot of that vibe in it that makes me think about it. It's not a critique. It's just if y'all had been like, here's what we're gonna do with that, or if you had weaved any of that in, I would have just been like, great, go. You're speaking to my heart as a GM. That's it, right? Like I would have absolutely rewarded that in play, which is an easy thing as a GM to just decide to do in this system. Also, I was really excited to also just be like, yeah, let's do some dumb 80s like Conan-y bullshit at the very beginning, and then go out for brunch afterwards. Like that was, and then I was like, I want a bad guy in this that is not obvious. I think one of my favorite things about the system is the scar concept, and I loved being able to like just weave somebody in who was like, yeah, this is a very scarred himbo who has gone to the point where they're a hero now. I also loved that like one of the like every time you take a scar, you get an emotional thing that comes with that, and there are things like nationalism and other things that are very dark and heavy stuff that starts to kind of corrupt your himbo. And I know that this is supposed to be one shot at this point, but tell me a little bit about that process and what made you think about that, because I think it's a lot of sharp design, and I don't think there's an easy way to feature it on stream. Spider was my attempt to be like, I love this part of the game and I want to be able to talk about it, so I'm going to make a shitty used to be himbo now hero and insert them in as a way to open up that conversation. So tell me a little bit about that mechanical process and that design choice.
Yeah, I mean, Scars is so the genesis of that idea is taken from Cairn. It's a thing that I really like in Cairn. That in Cairn, it only happens like at very specific moments where you get like the math just right, where you hit exactly 0 hit points. Some like cool thing happens to your character's body, and it's very different. It's very like, this is a physical thing that happens. But the idea that when you get drawn down to 0, like when your hit points or your general stamina or whatever becomes 0, something like changes the character. I really wanted to think about like, what is it if it's not physical harm? Like, what is it risk here and it's not physical harm? Because that to me, it's not like a super. It's fine for when that fits a theme, but it's not like the most compelling like make a story out of like have character development to have your character die. And so the way that it works in Himbos is that like when you hit 0 heart, yeah, you take on some kind of like harmful worldview or like thought process or like have a negative mentality about something. And it's kind of this like what is the core of a himbo, and it is that like goodness and that like belief system, even though that belief system can change from character to character, but like that is the thing that is at risk here. And how do I mimic that in the mechanics? And it's like, well, then I put that at risk. And I think it'll be, again, it's a thing that kind of will come out more in a like campaigny type play, because it takes a little moment to get there and then to have a character development. But it is like, oh, you might start to lose what it is that makes your character like resiliently optimistic or whatever. Like in Trunk's for Trunk, it might be losing that honorability, right? Like losing a little bit of that honor, and then starting to. But also, like I wanted it to kind of reflect that like the world is kind of getting you down. So whatever it is, so part of a thing that'll end up in the final book is that when you're crafting adventures, a way to like. Not dissimilar to how like Trophy has themes, like think about the harmful worldviews at play, like think about what the baddies think and what is being presented, and so what is at risk, and maybe that's the one, as opposed to like rolling on a table. Maybe what you get if you get a scar is like, oh, you're actually starting to like in this context it might have been like, oh, I'm actually starting to agree with Spider, right? Like, oh, that's actually getting in there. I'm becoming weaker and weaker to getting convinced of that opinion of the world, and that to me just sounds like a fun play space.
Yeah, because the other thought was Spider was if y'all had just like rebuffed him and driven him off, then this is long-standing villain in the campaign now, who is a hero, ostensibly good, but is not somebody who is enviable from a player or character standpoint. Hey, thanks, Skullboy, for rating us. Welcome, everybody. We are finishing our conversation about Himbos of Myth and Metal. You can have it over at Himbos RPG to check that out. It is funding right now. It's funding. It's been doing a great job, but we just finished an actual play of it, and they're just chatting about the game. Max, do you have any questions you want to ask us, since everybody here has played the game enough times and had a chance to talk to you about it? Is there anything that would be helpful for you to hear from us besides this is a really fucking good game and everybody should go get it?
I mean, thank you. I don't know if I have any questions. I mean, like it's been a big thank you all for kind of like leaning super into it. It's been really enlightening. Like it's been super fun, obviously, but then it also has been like really enlightening to be like, oh, it's cool that you feel like this is a thing that you are seeing, like feeling empowered to do because the system asks you to like, what is the weirdest spell thing you could possibly think of. I mean, obviously, if you have feelings at any point that you want to share on or off stream about like, I'm always here for any kind of criticism. As long as it's for my
This game's bad. I hate it.
That's not for chat. That's for us. We're all friends.
As long as it is not towards my mesh. We're here. Yeah. I'm open to constructive criticism, but you can't comment on my mesh because it's perfect. But yeah, I like it has just been great, and it's been great to see people interact with it in ways. I feel like the biggest thing is like, do you think I need to make like some kind of familiar template? Don't I? There needs to be something. I need to.
Yeah, animal. You got to do animals now, right? Whether because I feel like animals are not the same as items, but I feel like could easily be. I can send you the stuff we have for. I mean, it's not like a ton of detailed stuff. I can send you the stuff that we're doing for. Down We Go, which is basically like animals are a very simple template, but you can also train them to get them leveled up to being more like a higher lane level of like support instead. And so, which we played across. Like I love the idea that like Maxitar, you riding Maxitar, if that's the only thing you want to be able to do with Maxitar,
yeah, perfect.
That's great. That's easy, right?
Maxitar's a glorified horse.
Right. And so like that's really easy for me to be able to throw in. But I think stuff in that level is fun, but I very much see Himbos picking up a lot of pets along the way. For sure.
Keegan and I Keegan and I have perfected a very modular companion system.
Oh, cool.
It's sprung from the Lumen system, but I feel like we have nailed it down. You can use it in anything now.
Saying we is giving me a lot of heavy lifting I didn't do. You wrote it, and I have repeatedly copied it.
Let's all talk about the things that we're doing with Keegan, where Keegan doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah, I'd love
we'll
that.
give
Let's
equal
keep
credit
going.
for. And so, no, I like I said, I think there's that piece. Like I said, the friendship is magic piece, like cranking that up a little bit, I think would be good. And then, but I think those are like the only two things. Those are more like I want to yes and this as a GM, right? And I even with a lot of the broship that I saw on the last stream, and then like I think comes up naturally within the theme. I think that'll come up commonly. And so knowing how that works beyond just because, like I said, there's help mechanics already. But like, what if we want to weave two spells together? I don't think anything overcomplicated is going to be helpful, but something very simple that's how do you yes and some of that stuff in a really intentional way as a GM, or how do you write in rules that give players more permission, right? Because they don't need it, but it's really helpful to players who don't know how to think outside the box. And this game invites you to act outside the box, if not think outside the side of it.
Yeah,
And so,
I mean, that came up a little bit like with Keegan on the other stream where we were talking about like the line between make this up and here's a rule for it, right? Like, and that being a really like that to me is like where really elegant design exists, when you can find the line between make a bunch of stuff up, but also here's enough scaffolding to make you make that up easily. Every time I play with Aaron, I'm like, you just make shit up so well. And I'm always like, I'm here thinking about what I could do. And Aaron's like, I'm gonna throw the ruby. And also,
I also just love like Aaron's like, I got a really expensive ruby at the very beginning, and immediately you said about trying to destroy that item. Like, because even when it hit him in the head, I was like, I was just gonna let you have that ruby. But if it's very exciting for you for that ruby to have been destroyed, then absolutely let's destroy that ruby, because
you were like, the ruby got destroyed when it exploded your head, and I was like, did it?
It didn't. It's still sitting there on the edge of that ziggurat, waiting for somebody to pick it up. So
the inside of his head.
Yeah,
so
so
I mean, it's that Monster Hearts thing, like drive your characters like they're stolen cars. Like I'm here to just crash and
So, but yeah, and if there's any other thoughts that you guys have, toss them out. If you have questions in the chat, hit those up now. This is a great time for that. Otherwise, we got a couple announcements, and we'll call it a day. Aaron, Keegan, anything else you want to add?
Check out our podcast, Read the Fucking Manual. We have a Ko-fi set up to fund. Max is doing all the editing, so like give them some money and let us buy some more old RPGs to read and talk about.
Love it. Keegan, anything for you?
We have the +1 EXE streams coming up in March.
We're almost to the point where I'm getting ready to give Keegan access to our Twitter account. We're not quite there yet, but we're almost there.
You're so fucked when I take over the Twitter account.
I'm waiting till the end of the month where I don't have to worry as much about what's happening on that Twitter account.
Yeah, that's
fair. And we're a little bit more imminent, which means, in case you don't know, we're going to be playing a three-part.
I think we decided 3.
I'm fine with whatever. I just know it was Mondays. Actually, I do need to talk about one of those dates with you, but we can do that off stream. Mondays in March, we're going to be doing a set playthrough featuring me, Aaron, Keegan, and some other folks of Keegan's In Extremis. And so there's the Abyss expansions coming out. Keegan made a bunch of really cool stuff that we could have played with, and we were like, nah, let's make other new cool stuff. That Keegan then was like, that's great, and then put it all in the book also too. And so I'm very excited to see what we get up to. It's a Lumen powered system about necromancers in space, inspired by the Gideon the Ninth series, right?
Yeah,
say all those things right. And then we right now over on over on GameFound, where it's very, very lonely because it's the only RPG that's alive right now, have 13 Hunters, which is a system-neutral supplement of bounty hunters. You could drop it into Himbos of Myth and Metal. You could drop it into In Extremis. You can drop it into whatever you want because it's system and setting agnostic. It's by Nuclear Obelisk. People keep on giving me credit for creating this. I'm just the shill for this game. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful. Nuclear 100% deserves your support. Go check it out over at ttrpg.link/13 Hunters. Keegan just dropped that link along with the Ko-fi in the chat also too. So please go back that if you can. Also upcoming, we have later on this week, we are playing Chris Bissett's new Morkborg adventure in the blue light, which I am tremendously excited about. So come back on Thursday afternoon to watch us play that. We've got some other APs happening this weekend, along with a number of interviews coming up as well. The big ones being talking to Anna Blackwell about small creatures such as these tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, I'm interviewing Chase Carter, and we haven't figured out about what yet. So if you have an idea about what we should be talking about, besides all the research he's done on crowdfunding and Kickstarter lately, do that. Top things are who would win in a fight, Martin from Dicebreaker or Charlie Hall from Polygon, who would win in a fist fight? That's the number one question I want to ask. Also, we have the Together We Jam coming up, which is another thing Keegan is working on with somebody. Keegan's done a ton of great work to put together the Together We Go Jam.
I've done 0 things.
You can go to its.io/jam/TWJ in order to find out more information about that. But you can create content using the Together We Go system for Down We Go, Through the Void, DungeonDelvers.tv, or even make your own games. Very excited about all that stuff. But until next time, you should just go check out Himbos. Get it. Play it. And look for the calendar and other future Himbo releases coming out, because we're very excited about all of those things. Until next time, we're just going to wave our hands at the screen until I take us offline. But thanks so much, everybody, for coming and hanging out with us. We'll talk to you soon.